Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE Backlash 2020, which was broadcast on June 14th, 2020. So this could be real quick. Overall, I really like this pay-per-view. I was kind of losing interest until the best match ever happened. And I'm not talking about the greatest match of all time or greatest match ever, whatever they called Randy Orton versus Edge. It was a great match, but even more entertaining and got me super hyped up was the Viking Prophets 80s action film that took place right before the main event. Man, it was so fun. I was not expecting it, and I think that made it all the more entertaining. I was like, what the heck is going on? I thought we were going to have a tag team match. I was wondering up until that point. That's interesting that the Raw tag team titles is happening after both of the world titles. You have the WWE Championship happened right before that, and then a couple matches before that. We had the match before that. We had the Universal Championship. So I thought that was very interesting. Although there were a ton of championship matches on this show, the only non-championship match was what was Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. So it was a packed night. No championships changed hands, but and then of course the greatest match ever, that wasn't a championship match either. But no championships changed hands the entire night, which I wasn't really surprised by. Raiders versus Profits wasn't an actual match, so I guess that doesn't really count as the championships being on the line anyway. But man, I really liked that Viking Profits film. I just call it a film. It was a masterpiece. It was art. It was great. But I'll get to that in just a second. We open up the show with Andrade versus Apollo. Apollo retained the United States Championship after a power bomb. And also there's Kevin Owens was on commentary and took care of the extra distraction of Angel Garza at ringside. So that was on the kickoff show. So you can go check that out for free on YouTube and whatnot, or the free version of the WWE Network. It's on there as well. I watched it on Twitch just because why not? And then I switched over to the WWE Network after that. I could have just watched it all on the network, but I thought I'd see how the chat on Twitch was going. It was not great, but I'll just watch it on WWE Network from now on. But then on the actual show, we had Sasha Banks and take on the Iconics and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross to defend the women's tag team championships. I didn't mind. This was the only pick that I got wrong from the whole night, except that you can't really count. Nobody. But Raiders versus Profits didn't happen, so I guess I got that wrong too. But I didn't mind. I didn't really mind who was gonna win this championship, because whoever it was, I knew they were going to take a great match to Tegan Nox and Shotzi later this week on NXT. But Sasha and Bayley, they win. I was also really happy that it was 3 legal members, so 1 legal member from each team at all times. It wasn't this silly fatal 4-way thing where we get just only 2 active team members at any given time. I don't like that. It might as well just be why is it a fatal 4-way? It's not a fatal 4-way. It's a weird handicap sort of situation. It's like an 8-person tag team match that you only have 1 active person out of 8 people. So I really liked that they had that. This was my favorite regular wrestling match of the night, because the last 2 things were not regular wrestling matches. Then we had Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. Of course, we saw Sheamus covered in pee. I was worried that we might see more urine on this pay-per-view, but that wasn't the case. Sheamus won after a brogue kick. And we also had... what was that? Oh, yeah. Jeff hit a swanton bomb, but Sheamus got his foot onto the rope. So Jeff almost won it at that point. Also, I thought it was really cool that Bailey was cutting a promo to, I think it was Kayla backstage. She was cutting a promo during Sasha's entrance, and that could be I don't know. That could be seen as some disrespect to Sasha, or some the most respect to Sasha. I'm not sure. It could go either way. Then we had Asuka versus Nia Jax. I didn't write down anything for this match except for the ending. It wasn't very memorable for me. I'm glad that Asuka didn't lose, but she also didn't win because there's a double count out. And then Asuka also continued to attack Nia after the count out happened. So it could have been worse. I was also glad that Charlotte Flair didn't show up. I was certain that she was going to show up and cause disqualification or something. She was going to be involved with the finish of this match. So that was a relief on one aspect anyway. Then we had Braun versus Miz and Morrison, a handicap match. Braun Strowman won. We got to see we didn't get to see the full hey Universal Champ has got to go. That's not how I butchered that completely. That music video is so great. I love it. It's great. Like, I'm not joking. That is non-ironic. I really, really enjoy it. And every time that it comes on, and then when it's interrupted, I get upset that you didn't get to see the whole thing. But luckily, they showed the whole thing on the bump, and the whole thing is on YouTube. But Braun Strowman successfully wins after a power slam to Morrison. Morrison almost got the win, but The Miz, running on instinct perhaps, broke up the pin, because if Morrison got the pin, he would have been the champion. They wouldn't have been co-champions. It was just whoever got the pin would win it, as was the case with Sami Zayn when he won the Intercontinental Championship from Braun Strowman. So Braun successfully defends his championship. We'll see what happens with Braun Strowman next at Extreme Rules, or if he defends the championship sometime before then. But at least he'll be on TV, if not defending a championship on TV. AJ Styles announces that on Friday they'll have a championship presentation, and that Daniel Bryan is invited. Then we had Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. Bobby got him in a full Nelson before the bell even rang. So it's looking pretty grim for Drew McIntyre, but he does eventually hit the Glasgow kiss. While there's all kinds of stuff with Lana came out, and she was a big distraction, and she got knocked off of the ring and to MVP and all this stuff. It's all mass chaos. Cats and dogs living together. Drew McIntyre successfully defends the WWE Championship, and Bobby Lashley and MVP just leave Lana sitting there on the floor. That's a big message to send to his wife there, that he's pretty mad. He's pretty mad that she cost him. Possibly, it could be argued that she cost him. I would argue it shouldn't matter who comes to ringside. If you're really worthy of being champion, you can get it done. So there. How about that? Especially when you have MVP there helping you the entire time. Especially when you start before the match with a full Nelson that almost takes your opponent out. He should have been able to. He should have been able to get the job done. He didn't get it done by the time Lana came out there. I'd say that's his fault. Anyway, we had the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. They're just brawling backstage. They end up in the parking lot. They smash Braun Strowman's car. Surely we're going to get some type of fallout from that. We saw Braun arrive in that car earlier in the day. I like that crosses over. There's a little bit crossover of stories there. Braun Strowman is probably going to think that it was Miz and Morrison again, if he doesn't go back and watch the pay-per-view. Things are getting out of hand, and then Ivar goes, "Let's take this outside." And like, we're already outside. What are you talking about? Then they join forces to become the Viking Profits to fight a gang of biker ninjas who are led by Akira Tozawa, which is amazing. They fight them all off, and they end up on top of a bunch of trucks. We see Noe Jose on one of the trucks. Eric and Montez, they end up going off into a dumpster, and then Ivar shoves Montez off into the dumpster as well, and then he dives in after them, yelling "Air Ivar!" And then referee Jess, she comes up a ladder next to the dumpster, and is like, "What are you guys doing? Your match is nice. Get out of here!" And then we also got tons of flashbacks of all the running jokes of this "Anything You Can Do, We Can Do Better" series that we've had the last month. And then she's got eyes for Ivar. Eric, not so much. I really hope this pays off with Sarah Logan returning to defend Eric's honor, also because he's a fellow Eric. That the disrespect, man. You gotta give a little bit of props. I guess saying not so much isn't saying he's not cute, but hey. Anyway, this match, this quote unquote match, was amazing. There's tons of stuff that I didn't even mention, like the bowling balls, the golf clubs, all of that. And then there's an alligator or a sea monster, some type of monster is in the dumpster with them, hearkening back to the classic film Star Wars: A New Hope. Okay, then that brings us to the main event: Randy Orton versus Edge, the greatest match of all time. It was bugging me, all the whole thing with this being the greatest match of all time. I thought, oh, this is why are they doing this? They're just building up the hype too much. But how they went about it and what they do it, I appreciate the presentation of this match. That it was filmed somewhat cinematically. It was filmed differently from the other matches because it wasn't broadcast live, and that there was a little bit of surreal aspect to it with the special introductions, as if it were at Madison Square Garden, and then the added crowd noise and all of that. Like, I thought it all worked. It all worked really well. I saw a lot of complaints online. Oh, they're adding the crowd noise and stuff. They weren't doing it to the rest of them. It was an artistic choice for this match. It wasn't meant to be a misrepresentation, because you could obviously see the crowd wasn't. It was just like 20 people from the performance center. So from that, the introductions, Charles Robinson wearing a classic referee nice shirt and bow tie, all of that. They were creating that kind of feel, like it was kind of, maybe even kind of like it was a dream sort of thing. Not that it was a dream, but it was that sort of thing, that maybe this is all in both of their heads in a way, not to the same extent as the Firefly Funhouse, but like, oh, this is us imagining the glory days for both of them. That we came back. It's kind of like a meta commentary, sort of like Edge came back because he missed the crowd, he missed that energy and all of that, and for this greatest match ever, quote unquote, to take place without an audience, and that perhaps we could interpret it as they're imagining those crowd noises. Like, if we were doing this in front of this crowd, this is what it would sound like, and I don't know. It's not delusion necessarily, but that imagination of it is a thing. I don't know. I'm maybe reading up too much into that, but there's tons of like callbacks to other classic matches. I really like that. The only thing that I didn't really like was just how long it was. It's about 45 minutes for this match, which I thought maybe after the feedback from a lot of people from their Mania match, this match was way better than their Mania match, I thought. But I thought that maybe they've kept maybe like 35 minutes, a little bit. Like, if it was 10 minutes shorter, it was more concentrated goodness, it would have been even better. Greatest match of all time? No, but as a story type of thing, and like as them imagining it and wishing that was things were different right now, or that kind of thing, I thought it worked really well. And I mean, oh man, there's so much great stuff throughout. It was just a bit too long. Randy Orton won with the punt after all kinds of chaos from spears, from RKOs. 2 RKOs were not effective, but Randy finally hitting that punt, then telling him to go home. Go tell Lyric and Ruby and Beth that Uncle Randy says hi. So it was great. There wasn't very much trash talk. There's probably just as much trash talk in this match as at the Mania match, but we had commentary that was actually present and excited the entire time, and we had Samoa Joe on commentary as well. I thought that added a whole lot, and that kind of made up for. And then there's another moment of trash talk that I'm not going to repeat, but we had Randy whispering something profane to Edge, and I was like, oh man, that was the fact that they left that in, because this was not a live match. That's I appreciate that. It's pretty cool. So anyway, I really, really like this. The last 2 matches really made this pay-per-view for me, and the opening match of the pay-per-view itself with the triple threat tag team titles. Man, I'd say that this is the most I don't know. Money in the Bank was really good too, but and In Your House is great. There's certainly parts of each of these shows that have been really, really great since WrestleMania, and including WrestleMania, of course. So I'm excited to see what happens next at Extreme Rules. It was supposed to be in San Jose. I wasn't going to be able to go to it anyway because I had a convention booked that weekend. So now I'm missing both of those things. Everybody's missing both of those things. Actually, I'm not sure if that convention is canceled or not, but if it's not, I'm not going to go to that. It's too soon for anything of that nature. So anyway, yeah, I really liked it. Let me know what you thought about it, what you enjoyed most, what was your favorite moments, by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. Stay safe, healthy, and happy out there in all of the infinite multiverses, and I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.